Hello and welcome to our English news edition coming to you from Canal, Algérie. First, to the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, receives the Dean of the Mosque of Paris, Dr. Shamsuddin Hafiz. Via his Twitter account, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, expresses his wishes for peace and safety for Iran and its inhabitants following the earthquake that hit the province. A plenary session is held on Monday devoted to the debate and presentation of a draft bill related to labor relations. The proceedings of the 73rd session of the Liaison Committee of the Trans-Saharan Road at the ministerial level is held on Monday, a road connecting 6 countries and which has a promising character. Several graduation ceremonies are organized at the Higher School for Aeronautical Techniques and the Military Polytechnic School, as well as the School for Transport and Traffic Application. And on the second day of the Mediterranean Games 2022 held in Oran province, 2 gold medals and 3 silver ones are added to Algeria's harvest. Good evening. Those were the headlines. First, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received on Monday the Dean of the Mosque of Paris, Dr. Shamsuddin Hafiz, who made him a presentation on the activities of this ancient religious institution, thanking him for his invitation for inviting members of the young Algerian community abroad for the opening ceremony of the Mediterranean Games 2022. The President of the Republic thanked the Dean of the Paris Mosque for all the efforts made and the role of this religious institution in reflecting the bright image of Islam by combating extremism. And he also reiterated on this occasion his and Algeria's full support for the Dean in succeeding his noble mission. A quake measuring 5.1 on the Richter scale was recorded on Sunday in Oran province, as announced by the Center of Research in Astronomy. No victims have been recorded, only a few material casualties. The President of the Republic, Tebboune, wished peace and safety for Iran and its inhabitants by tweeting, "I wish safety and peace on Iran and its inhabitants following the earthquake. Thank you for honoring Algeria and for the hospitality you showed to our guests." In the parliamentary activity, a plenary session chaired by the President of the Senate, Salah Goujil, took place on Monday in the presence of the Minister of Relations with the Parliament, Basma Azwa. Debate and presentation of a draft bill related to labor relations. The Minister of Labor, Employment and Social Security, Youssef Sharfa, announced that a right will be implemented for the public sector workers to benefit from holidays in order to create startups. And a draft bill on investment was adopted on Monday by the deputies, according to the Minister of Industry. This new text comes under the framework of the diversification policy of the national economy. This took place during a keynote speech made by Ahmed Zaghdar in the presence of the Minister of Relations with the Parliament, Basma Azwar. Still with the parliamentary activity, the Bureau of the National People's Assembly held a meeting chaired by the President of the Council, Brahim Boughali, during which a request submitted by the government to implement the procedure of limited discussions on a draft bill related to reserves vote was examined. The Bureau also reviewed a request by the Prime Minister regarding the extension of the parliamentary session 2021-2022. In another development, Prime Minister Ayman Ben Abdurrahman received on Monday a ministerial delegation consisting of Sara Za'farani Zanzari, the Tunisian Housing Minister, Mazouz Jaji Sambo, the Minister of Public Works and Housing of the Nigerian Federal Republic, and Kadou Sabi Mukhtar, Minister of Equipment of the Republic of Niger, on a visit to Algeria as part of their participation in the 73rd session of the Trans-Saharan Road Connection Committee. The meeting was an opportunity to review in achievement of the Trans-Saharan Road and its strategic dimensions, as well as the prospects of its development to an economic corridor with modern management methods. The meeting, which took place in the presence of the Public Works Minister Kamal Nasri, also enabled the evaluation of the outcomes of the ministerial meeting of countries members of the Trans-Saharan Road Connection Committee, emphasizing the common will to implement it within the framework of a participatory approach inclusive of all economic actors, including the private sector. The proceedings of the 70th session of the Liaison Committee of the Trans-Saharan Road at the ministerial level started on Monday. Chaired by the Minister of Public Works, the meeting was held in the presence of representatives of national and international financial institutions, member countries. A road connects countries, allowing the smooth running of trade operations, as well as investments, a project that may pave the way for regional and local development, notably in the south of the country. Story by Sabrina Ferganit.
To accelerate the creation of an economic corridor is the agreement reached by the ministers of the public works and equipment sector of the countries included in the Trans-Sahara Highway project, an accord that was established after a study realized by the UNCTAD, which recommended the implementation of an economic corridor through a regional mechanism, assuring an efficient coordination between the member countries, including Algeria, Tunisia, Mali, Nigeria and Chad.
The main objective is to establish a regional mechanism which assures coordination and effective collaboration between the concerned countries of the corridor of the Trans-Sahara Highway in order to enhance this infrastructure.
The Minister of Public Works highlighted the progress of these projects in the 6 countries. A promotion of the Trans-Sahara Road was suggested in order to facilitate business interchange all along the corridor, using ICT to valorize this road network even more.
Algeria boosted this major project, aware of its African position and the importance of this road that will be part of reviving the economic and social development through economic exchanges, which will be achieved by connecting the African capitals and creating an African free trade area.
The Nigerian Minister of Public Works affirmed that the practically complete Trans-Sahara Road will promote the facilitation of trade agreements between the 6 member countries. We agreed to give an economic dimension to this project, considered as an African rapprochement. Considered as a strategic act to support investment, this road would supported by the implementation of AFCFTA, the African Continental Free Trade Area. For the Algerian side, more than 2,000 kilometers from Algiers to Inzam are already achieved.
Moving on to the military graduation ceremonies, 28 classes of officers graduated from the Higher School of Technical Aviation in Dar el Baida. A graduation ceremony supervised by the Commander of the Air Forces, Major General Mohammed Al-Araba. More details with Melissa Kubaj.
A graduating ceremony was held at the Higher School of Technical Aviation, Martyr Musar Hali, where 28 classes of officers graduated. At the beginning of the ceremony, the Commander of the Air Forces, Major General Mahmoud Al-Araba, proceeded to inspect the graduating classes before delivering a keynote speech.
تقدموا نحو الأمام بالتعليم كل يوم. إنكم تنضمون لقوة الجوية، سلاح قمة لا يعترف بأي خطأ. لا تنسوا بين أيديكم صراط الطيار. نملك وطن كبير له تاريخ عميق يحصلون عليه كثير من الناس. عليكم اليوم حمايته، الدفاع عنه، ورد ما فعله من أجلكم.
ونصون المصالح العليا للأمة. ونصون المصالح العليا للأمة في كل ظروف.
Following the swearing-in ceremony, diplomas and ranks were submitted to the graduates before the handover of the national flag by the graduating class to the other one.
هذا علم مدرستنا المدرسة العليا تقنية الطيران الشهيد موسى الحالي يضع أمانة في أعناقكم.
And with the aim of honoring the revolution's martyrs, the graduating classes bore the name of Martyr Al-Arabi Ahmed.
وفاء لتضحيات شهدائنا الأبرار ومجاهدينا الأخيار، نطلب من سيادتكم الموافقة على تسمية دفعتنا باسم الشهيد أحمد العربي.
A military parade was carried reflecting the cohesion and coordination between the classes, as well as the high level reached by them. It is worth noting that the school was endowed with a new pedagogical structure, while the graduates presented their end of studies project.
Les images et les vidéos et reconnaissent les objets pour l'identification et la classification.
At the end of the ceremony, the family of Martyr Al-Arabi Ahmed was honored.
The 49th graduating class of engineers, the 7th graduating class of additional master's training at the Polytechnic Military School located in Burj Al Bahri graduated during a ceremony supervised by the commander of the 1st Military Region, Major General Ali Sidan. Story by Manal Ammari.
The graduation ceremony began with the inspection of the graduating classes by Major General Ali Sidan, commander of the 1st Military Region. On this occasion, the commander of the school, General Sarir Omar, delivered a speech in which he highlighted the major axes of the training, as well as the scientific and military knowledge that was provided.
الالتزام بالقوانين والنظم والتشبع بالمبادئ النوفمبرية، وأن تجعلوا من أنفسكم عونا لجيشنا الباسل ووطننا المفدى، واضعين نصب أعينكم المصلحة العليا للأمة فوق كل اعتبار. أقسم بالله العلي.
Afterwards, the graduating class took an oath. Then the diplomas and ranks were presented to the graduates. The Major General, commander of the 1st Military Region, gave his approval to name the graduating class after the martyr Muhammad bin Abdul Latif. The ceremony ended with a military parade carried out with precision by the graduates, reflecting the school's high-level training. The graduate engineers exhibited their scientific projects that showcased the quality of the training received at the school, as well as their complete mastery of the technologies. At the end of the ceremony, the family of martyr Muhammad bin Abdul Latif were honored by Major General Ali Sidan, commander of the 1st Military Region, before signing the school's Golden Book.
For his part, the commander of the 2nd Military Region, Major General Jamal Haj Al-Arousi, chaired over the graduation ceremony of the 7 graduating classes from the application of transport and traffic school in Tlemcen. The details, Melissa Kubash.
Another graduating ceremony was held at the application of transport and traffic school in Tlemcen. The ceremony kicked off with the inspection of different graduating classes.
أيها المتخرجون، بقدر ما أهنئكم على هذا النجاح والتتويج، بقدر ما أحثكم على التحلي بالعزيمة والإرادة لمواصلة العمل الفعال الذي أينعت ثماره مع إنهاكم لنشاطات هذه السنة الدراسية. أوصيكم بالتحلي بالأخلاق الفاضلة والقيم الوطنية والعسكرية النبيلة.
ونصون المصالح العليا للأمة. ونصون المصالح العليا للأمة. في كل الظروف.
After taking the oath, the 7 classes received their diplomas and were submitted their ranks.
نحن أهل للوديعة، صدورنا دروع المنيعة، في الدم والروح نفديها، وبالعلم والسلاح نحميها.
And after receiving the approval, the graduating classes were named after martyr Mustafawi Boualam. The ceremony was then followed by a martial arts exhibition carried by the school's students. Alongside the military parade and exhibition, which reflects the high level reached by the school's officers. At the end of the ceremony, the commander of the 2nd Military Region, Major General Arousi Jamal, honored on this occasion the family of martyr Mustafawi Boualam. It is worth mentioning that on the grounds of the ceremony, organized open days for the benefit of citizens.
The Algerian company for the manufacturing of Mercedes-Benz vehicles belonging to the National People's Army located in Ain Bouchkif in Tiaret province delivered 562 vehicles on Monday for the benefit of the Ministry of National Defense as well as other public and private institutions. Let us now have a listen to the third part of the serious revelations made by the detained terrorist Mohammed Ben Halima, one of the traitors participating in the abject plans against Algeria.
اللي كان يوتاني هو يستخدم مثلا كما قضية محمد عبد الله جمع بها حوالي 60,000 الأولى 60,000 الزوجة، والأولى جمع بها 30,000 90,000 أورو راهي متواجدة عنده هو أسيق الشوت. هنا أمير ولا يسحب في أمواله مع تسمع زيطوط. تفاهموا على راس أمير باش يديروا كاميرا في بيت بوقزوحة لأنه الدراهم 100,000 أورو مخبيها عند بوقزوحة. هذه الأموال اللي راهي مخبيها عند بوقزوحة هي الأموال تاع الابتزاز تاع زوخ. من بين لي فيديو هذوك اللي قال لي ديرهم قال لي دير باللي فيديو كون زعما اونكا نخرج ولا شغل نحكي لكم على زيطوط ولا كاش ما نجبد الخبايا تاع زيطوط ولا عرفوا بلي عذبوني ولا ضربوني ولا قالوا لي قول ولا هذا الفيديو هو اللي قاعد يركز عليه اسماعيل زيطوط بزاف. كي لحقوه فرح قال لي ايوا هذا هو اللي كنت نحوس عليه. قال لي هاد الفيديوهات انا نخبيهم عندي. قال لي اونكا كاش ما يصرا ولا يهبطوك قال لي خرج انا هذه الفيديوهات على اساس كيما نقولوا ضربوك وعذبوك وقالوا له قول، وهما على بالهم بلي انا نعرف عليهم صوالح بزاف، وعلى بالي قاضب عليهم دي بروف تاع خيانه.
In a different context, Morocco is getting ready to sign an agreement with the Zionist entity to send Moroccan workers in the occupied territories of Palestine to participate in the construction of new Zionist colonies, another treason to the Palestinian cause. More details with Sabrin Taferginit.
Moroccans refuse to back down. They are determined to continue demonstrations against the normalization with the Zionist entity. They refuse to submit to this policy of Al-Mahsen regime, denouncing as well the high cost of living that is forcing thousands of Moroccans to defy the orders and organize sit-ins on a daily basis. Worsening the situation, Mahsen is getting ready to sign an agreement with the Zionist entity related to the presence of Morocco in the occupied territories to consolidate the same entity that keeps despoiling the Palestinian lands. In this situation, the Moroccan frontal support of the Palestinian case denounces such agreement, described as another step in committing a pillage of the Palestinian lands. In the hopes of stopping this agreement and in order to defend the rights facing a dictatorship imposed by Al-Mahsen, 20 organizations of human rights announced the creation of coordination aiming to impose the right of peaceful assembly in front of the parliament in Rabat the 29th of June, claiming by that the right to organize peaceful demonstration, a constitutional right violated by Al-Mahsen, agreeing by that with several international organizations such as Human Rights Watch, which criticized the Mahsen, impeding the work of human rights organizations.
The African Union and others called for legal investigations to be opened following the violent and degrading treatment that African migrants were subjected to by the Moroccan forces in Melilla last day. More insights with Manar Ammari.
These inhumane images illustrate the worst crimes caught on cameras committed by a violent Mahsen in another racist repression carried out against African migrants. This heinous crime was committed by the Mahsen security forces that used batons, bullets and tear gas on over 2,000 innocent African migrants, whose only crime was attempting to cross the Spanish colony, Melilla. These images are unbearable. Dozens of Africans were severely injured and left for long hours without any medical assistance. Corpses were crammed on top of each other. These images stirred up a lot of anger on social media and human organizations around the world that demanded the opening of an investigation regarding this massacre. These organizations also denounced this unnecessary violence against the casualties. The organization specialized in immigration between Africa and Spain also demanded the opening of a legal investigation to shed light on this tragedy caused by the Mahsen. In a similar context, the head of the African Union's Commission, Moussa Faki Mahmed, was shocked and troubled with this situation and condemned the violent and demeaning treatment African migrants were subjected to. For her part, the European Commissioner for Internal Affairs, Ylva Johansson, said that the events that took place in the borders are deeply disturbing due to all the human loss. For her, this tragedy highlights why we need to set up safe, realistic and long-term solutions to reduce illegal immigration attempts. Furthermore, several calls were launched in Spain, Morocco and other countries demanding independent, fast and transparent investigation on this tragedy, namely Mohammed Amin Abidar, the president of a branch of the Moroccan Human Rights Association in Nador, as well as the Spanish non-governmental Caminando Fronteras, specialized in migration between Africa and Spain, demanding the immediate opening of an independent legal investigation from Morocco and Spain, as well as on an international level, to get to the bottom of this tragedy. Eduardo de Castro, the mayor, president of Melilla and the highest political authority of the autonomous city, also denounced Morocco's exaggerated response to the migrants' attempts, adding that Morocco allows itself to carry out certain actions that would not be acceptable in Spain.
And we wrap up our today's news with a historic national record in sports. On the second day of the Mediterranean Games competitions, Algeria snatched its first ever gold medal in badminton, a brilliant record achieved by Kouseilam Amri and Youssef Maddal. As for karate, Algeria won a silver medal. 1 gold and 2 silver medals were also added to Algeria's harvest in wrestling by Oukali Guillou and Bashir Sidi Azara. As for handball competition, the national team succeeded at its first match in the mid-game, winning over Turkey 32-27. Congratulations to all our teams in this tournament. And with this, our today's news edition comes to a close. Thank you for tuning in.